You ever feel like you've been trying to prove your worth your whole life? Like, look at me. I've tried my hardest to overgive, overexplain, and overwork just to be noticed. Or I have to give it my all, or people will think that I'm the reason it fell apart, or it didn't work out. But what happens when proving you're worthy of love and care starts to feel like a burden? Let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of Powerfully You, the podcast where we turn our pain into power and healing into truth. I'm your host, Sharitha, a psychic medium, trauma survivor, and truth teller. I help emotionally wounded, spiritually curious people heal from trauma and reclaim their voice so that they can stop people pleasing, start living their truth, and embody their power unapologetically. And today we're talking about a wound that most of us carry but don't even realize it. The fear of being misunderstood and how it turns us into overworking machines. Because this ain't about working hard. It's about why we feel like we have to over-explain, over-justify, and overdo just to be seen. Let's get into it. When proving yourself becomes a shield. For as long as I can remember, I've lived by this rule. If I do everything right, then they won't say shit about me. I thought. If I got degrees, worked the jobs, raised the kids, helped my friends, if I stayed loyal, stayed busy, stayed ready, then nobody would come for me. I was wrong. People continue to come for me, making me feel like I was never good enough. It wasn't just about effort. It was about protection. Because when you grow up Black, a woman, poor, neurodivergent, sensitive, and deeply spiritual in a world that don't respect any of that, you start people pleasing for permission to exist. You get so used to people assuming the worst that you spend your whole life trying to stay 3 steps ahead of their judgment. Exhausting. And what that really is, effort is as a shield, hustle as defense, trying hard as proof of your goodness that you already are. You are already good because you have a big heart. You see the best in everyone. You want the best for everyone, even your haters. You love unconditionally, and people make you feel like you're not good enough. That's why you people please, because you want people to see your goodness. They do. They are intimidated by it, and that's why they refuse to see it in you. You remind them of a time when they were good. When trying hard isn't enough. But here's where the conflict comes in. You give your all. You show up. You pour it out. You work 3 jobs. You keep the house clean. You do the readings. You make the content. And life still falls apart. And you're sitting there like, but I did everything right. And I'm still losing. Now what? I'll tell you. The divine wants you to do the opposite. The divine is asking you to slow down and stop worrying about being misunderstood. Now, who are you if your effort couldn't protect you? Your old self feels like you're nothing without effort. Your new self knows that you are already good enough. That's the grief that hits the hardest. Not just losing things, but losing the illusion that overdoing was keeping you safe. And let's be real, the part that makes it worse is knowing people are watching and judging and criticizing and saying, you gave up. You're being lazy. You have not been trying hard enough. But what they don't know, the weight you carry just to stay strong. And even worse, your trauma starts echoing, they're right. You should have tried harder. You let go too soon. You failed. But the truth is, you're not failing. You're changing. And it sucks. Surrendering is not failure. There comes a moment in your journey where people pleasing to be understood becomes a prison, where every I gave it my all starts sounding like a trauma lullaby, a way to soothe the fear of being judged. But what if growth didn't look like grinding? What if peace was enough proof? What if you let go, not because you gave up, but because you stopped giving in to fear, which most people don't or won't understand? This is the season where your soul is asking, can you be misunderstood and still feel whole? Can you let people talk and still walk in your truth? Can you choose peace even if they don't get it? Because they won't, because they don't have the emotional capacity to. Because at some point, people pleasing to prove your worth becomes a spiritual bypass, and surrender becomes the real revolution. Devil's advocate. But if I stop trying, won't people think I gave up? Let's be honest. This one hit us at our core. You might be thinking, if I stop explaining, people will think I don't care. If I don't grind, they'll say I'm lazy. If I surrender, they'll say I failed. But here's the truth. They already think what they think. That's what they're trying to prevent, the truth. If they like and care about you, you wouldn't have to overgive, overexplain, and overdo to be understood by them. And you're killing yourself to earn their approval won't change a damn thing. And most of the time, the people you're trying to prove yourself to wouldn't get it, even if you laid your whole soul bare out in front of them, because they can't even see it in themselves. So what's the real cost? You're sacrificing your peace for people who ain't gonna never understand the path you were called to walk. They're not supposed to. And if that ain't spiritual slavery, I don't know what is. Reflective moment, journal prompts. Let's sit with this for a minute. Grab your journal, your tea, your peace. Ask yourself, what version of me learned that overdoing equals protection? What does it cost me to constantly prove I'm trying? Who am I without my performance? What fear comes up when I imagine being misunderstood? What would I do differently if I didn't need people to get it to still move? Let these questions breathe in your body. Don't rush the answers. They already live in your bones. Final soul truth. You were never here to prove yourself to people who don't even understand themselves. You were never here to earn your rest. You were never meant to explain your healing to people who still worship suffering. You are allowed to be whole without permission. You are allowed to choose peace without apology. And you are allowed to let go, not because you gave up, but because you finally fucking remember who you are. If this episode cracks something open in you, if it gives you permission to stop performing and start trusting your path, just sit with it. Breathe with it. Let it rise. You don't owe anybody your suffering. You don't owe anybody your receipts. And you only owe your soul the truth. Until next time, stay powerful and stay true to you.